Hello, Jack. This is a video response to your video, Atheists Lack Belief. Let's begin by hearing what you had to say.
Now, how many times have we heard some atheists say something to the effect of, if God was really a God of X, then he would do Y? Or, if God was real, then God would do Y or be X? It's clear these people have some concept in their mind regarding who or what God should be like. Many of these very same people will say they lack a belief in God. Think about this for a moment. They have a concept in their mind regarding who God is and what God should do or be if there was a God, but they lack a belief in God. So you lack a belief in God, but have enough of an understanding about this God that you lack a belief in to talk about how you think this God that you lack a belief in should be like if you believed in the God that you lack a belief in, right?
It seems that you're equating lacking a belief with having absolutely no concept at all. What I mean when I say I lack a belief is to say that I do not believe. It does not mean that I have no concept at all of what you're talking about. Now, there are many notions of God that range from the very specific to the very vague, and it's the believer that proposes their definition of God. And that's not to say that once that definition is proposed, we can't reason about it, even though we don't commit to it by believing in it.
But when I say that someone is an atheist, what I'm saying is they don't believe in God. They believe there is no God. Can it be said they lack a belief in God? Sure. But this is just another way for a person to say, I don't believe in God, or I believe there is no God.
Now here, you're correctly equating I lack a belief in God with I do not believe in a God. But then you go on to incorrectly equate I do not believe in a God with I believe there is no God. More generally, for any statement S, it's not the same to say I do not believe S than it is to say I believe not S. Upon hearing a statement and understanding it, you're not obliged to believe either it or its negation. For example, I can say to you, at this moment there is an even number of cells in your body. Now that statement is either true or false, and without any kind of warrant from me for you to believe that, you're perfectly within your rights to say, I don't believe it. Now, if you immediately from then believe the negation, that means you must believe that there's an odd number of cells in your body. Why would you believe that, though? Hearing the statement, there is an even number of cells in your body, does not immediately induce you to believe either the statement that there is or the negation that there is an odd number. Now, there are many notions of God, and for some of those notions I positively affirm their non-existence. For others, I simply find no good reason to believe in them. The atheist's defining characteristic is that they lack a belief in any God.
Better yet, all you atheists who are making this positive assertion, this claim regarding burden of proof, I would like some empirical evidence that backs you up, that backs up this claim that you're making.
The burden of proof is not something you can verify empirically, but rather it's a position you adopt with respect to belief revision. I can, however, provide you with an argument in favor of placing it upon those who would have you believe something. Consider what the opposite would be. If you do not require any kind of proof for believing a claim, the opposite of that is complete credulity. Someone could just walk up to you, tell you to believe a statement, and you would believe it. The opposite of that credulity is placing a burden of proof on the person that's making the claim that they want you to believe. Consider something you believe. It is either the case that 1. You consider that thing to be self-evident, or 2. You believe it for some reason. Now I hope you will agree that there are good and bad reasons for believing in things. Some people have different criteria for what those good reasons are, and there can obviously be disagreement, but for any given belief that somebody wants you to accept, there are what you at least would consider good or bad reasons for believing those things. Now, atheists obviously don't consider any God to be self-evident. So when an atheist cites burden of proof, saying the burden of proof is on you, Jack, that unpacks essentially to saying, I consider the reasons you are presenting for your belief in your God to be bad reasons. So, in summary, not believing in a statement, or lacking belief in that statement, is not equivalent to believing its negation. Furthermore, lacking a belief in that statement is not equivalent to being completely unaware of the concept. Lacking the belief is simply another way of saying that you do not have that belief. Different atheists hold different positions about different gods, but what they all have in common, what is their defining characteristic, is that they do not believe in any, they lack belief in all, gods. And finally, the alternative to placing a burden of proof on those who would have you believe things is complete gullibility.